Now, hey, all right, y'all. I'm here to talk about finances. Well, some people want to just put their money in the bank account and just let it sit. You know, I mean, that's better than splurging and, going broke every paycheck. But look, if you got some money to put aside, it's better to get an IRA account. So uh, you can get a traditional IRA account or a Roth IRA account. Now, there's key differences. Now, the key difference between a Roth and a traditional lies in the times of the tax advantage. Do you want to pay now or do you want to pay your tax later? Now, some people would say, okay, later, I want to pay it later, but you never know what's going to happen later. So, in my opinion, I would rather just have them take the taxes out now. Now, the thing is that you might have to worry about, let's say, the return. So, in return for considerable tax breaks, they may restrict and dictate access to funds. Now, Roth IRA functions more like regular investments account. You know, they only deal with tax benefits, and they have fewer restrictions, but fewer breaks as well. Now, whether you think your annual income and tax bracket will be lower or higher in retirement is a key factor in determining which IRA to choose. Now, traditional IRAs contributions are tax deductible on both state and federal tax returns. For the year you make the contribution as a result, withdrawals, which are officially known as distributions, are taxed at your income tax rate when you make them, presumably in retirement. Now, do you want to save more money? Do you want to have what they call compound interest? Let's say, for instance, you put in 100,000, and let's just say, hypothetically speaking, it's a 10% return. Then you get 110,000 after a certain amount of time, right? But then on top of that, you'll get another on top of that. So on top of that interest, so let's say it's 110. Then on top of that, you'll get 10% on top of 110,000. So it'll just keep going and keep building, which is called compound interest. Now, you can let your money sit and stack instead of taking the risk of certain aggressive investments. Now, you can invest aggressively, which is risky, or you can play it the safe way, and you might not make that much money. But me, I don't know. No one knows the future. No one knows the future. So I would go with the Roth IRA. That's just my opinion. I'm not some type of financial expert, but I'm just giving you a heads up on certain options, rather than just saving up, stacking up some money, not knowing what to do with it, so you end up blowing it. It's just another option. To me, that makes sense. And there's a lot of people out there that don't know what to do with their money. So they end up in situations. I've done it myself plenty of times. And at the time, the timing wasn't right. I didn't think about it. Mine started scrambling. So I just let it sit. It didn't build any interest and eventually spent it up. And then just now you're just waiting on your next paycheck and trying to work with that. And that after a while gets played out. So here it goes. Here, right here. Now it says, okay, for instance, here it says, if you withdraw money from a traditional IRA before age 59 and a half, you'll pay taxes and a 10% early withdrawal penalty. You can avoid the penalty, but not the taxes. In some specialized circumstances, like when you use the money to pay for qualified first-time home buyer expenses up to $10,000 or qualified higher education expenses. Permanent disabilities and certain levels of reimbursed medical expenses may also be exempt from the penalty, but you'll still pay taxes on the distribution. Now it also says Roth IRAs right here. You don't get a tax deduction when you make a contribution to a Roth IRA. This means it doesn't lower your AGI that year, but your withdrawals from your Roth IRA during retirement are tax-free. That's because you paid the tax bill up front, so you don't owe anything on the back end. To me, that makes way more sense. It says Roth IRAs have income eligibility restrictions. And I guess this is talking about in 2021, singles must have a MAGI of less than 140,000, with contributions being phased out, starting with a MAGI of 125,000. Married couples must have modified AGIs of less than 208,000 to contribute to a Roth, and contributions are phased out starting at 198K. So now here it goes. It says these limits increase for the 2022 tax year. The MAGI for single filers maxes out at 144,000. Whoa, okay. And begins to phase out at 129K. While the MAGI range for married couples filing jointly is 204,000, to 214,000. It says Roth IRAs carry no required minimum distributions, which means you're not required to withdraw any money at any age or during your lifetime at all. This feature makes them ideal wealth transfer vehicles. Beneficiaries of Roth IRAs don't owe income tax on withdrawals either, though they are required to take distributions or else roll the account into an IRA of their own. Unlike a traditional IRA, you can withdraw sums equivalent to your Roth IRA contributions, penalty, and tax-free at any time, for any reason, even before age 59 and a half. Importance: you can own and fund both a Roth and a traditional IRA, assuming you're eligible for each, but your total deposits in all accounts must not exceed the overall IRA contribution limit for that tax year. So right here, the key differences: both traditional and Roth IRAs provide generous tax breaks. but it's a matter of timing when you can claim them. Anyone with earned income can contribute to a traditional IRA. Whether the contribution is fully tax deductible depends on your income and whether you or your spouse, if you're married, are covered by an employer-sponsored retirement plan, such as a 401k. All right? So here it says, another difference between traditional and Roth IRAs lies in withdrawals. With traditional IRAs, you have to start talking RMDs, which are mandatory taxable withdrawals of a percentage of your funds at the age of 72, even if you don't need the money. The IRS offers worksheets to calculate your annual RMD, which is based on your age and the size of your account. Pre-retirement withdrawals. If you withdraw money from a traditional IRA before age 59 and a half, you'll pay taxes and a 10% early withdrawal penalty. You know, and we already talked about this before. So if you, let's see now right here, it has a little chart, and it explains everything. So my thing is this, I would say, this is what I would do. You got a certain amount of money. Put the money in the Roth IRA. Have them take the taxes out now. Let it sit, stack up, compound interest, about 5 years. So say if you got 100,000, take 10, put it aside, invest the 90, right? So if you got 100,000, put 10 aside, invest the 90 in the IRA. Let it sit. After a few years, withdraw, live off of that. Let the rest of it sit. Compound interest. After a few years, withdraw, live off that. Let the rest sit. After a few years, withdraw some, live off that. You get it? All right. That's what I would do. Now, if you followed along, you know, if you missed anything, go ahead and rewind it. Do some research of your own so that you know what you're getting yourself into and not just listening to somebody on YouTube. Actually, you know, put your faith in your own hands so that you know exactly where your future lies. You are in control of your destiny. But no, you know what, for real. I wanted to make this video because there's a lot of people out there that aren't really taking things seriously when it comes to finances and stuff like that. And we got to start doing better. And it's just what it is. I'm not used to, you know, being in front of the camera like this, where I'm talking about things like this, but I felt that it was needed. And I'm going to make more videos like this. Eventually I'll get more comfortable talking like this in front of the camera on a more serious matters. But hey, take care and receive the blessings from above.